Hello, class. Today I'm doing Module 5 discussion, and I'm Zach. And I'll be answering 3 questions for the first chapter 5. Is there anything that is meaningful to you that you find difficult, if not impossible, to put into words? I'd say yes. Things like communicating non-verbally, sometimes there's just not a good time to use words to communicate. It's better to use hand signals, face expressions. But another thing that could be hard to communicate is emotions. Things like grieving and conveying grieving, like in page 141. But moving on to question number 2. How potent do you believe the influence of languages on our lives? What impact has learning of other languages had on your own thought processes? And language has had a crazy impact on my life. Living in Florida, everyone spoke Spanish, and it was really hard to do a lot of things without knowing some Spanish. But having 2 different ways to communicate was and is very important in my eyes. I think it has a profound impact on everyone's thought process, and learning a language can definitely open a unique worldview. Personally, I think learning other languages has been transformative, and it has allowed me to perceive the world in a different linguistic lens, enriching my understanding of cultural diversity. But I'm going to move on to question number 3. How do you think calling people by their professional titles, nicknames, terms of endearment, or kinship affect your interactions with them? And I said, calling people by their professional titles, nicknames, terms of endearment, or kinship can significantly impact your interactions and relationships. But using the professional titles such as doctor, professor, can convey respect or authority, and it can also change the way that we talk to people too. Like, most people don't talk to their doctor the same way as they're talking to their husband or their mom. And certain titles also bring on a way of making you address them with a more sense of professionalism and sense of them knowing what they're doing. And addressing somebody by their professional title can set the tone for professional conduct and communication. Definitely establishing some mutual respect. Moving on to question number 4 from chapter 6. Do you know anyone who does not adhere to your use of regulators in conversation? Anyone you're acquainted with who speaks over you or always seems to interrupt you in conversations? In what way do you exaggerate your personal use of regulators to be an example or to help a person or multiple people learn how to participate in conversations more equally? And I said yes. I know a few people who do not use regulators in their conversations. They tend to speak over others and frequently interrupt during discussions, often in dominating conversations. This can be disruptive, making it challenging for others to express their thoughts or contribute to the conversation effectively. To address this issue and to encourage a more equal participation in conversation, I could exaggerate my personal use of regulators. As an example, I could try to make a conscious effort to practice actively listening by nodding my head or taking notes in class or in conversation. And then I could also use verbal cues such as whatever, you get the point. Anyways, I'm gonna move on to the next question. Substitution and accentuation. Accentuation. I can't say it, but there are 2 ways that nonverbal communications are commonly used. What are the 2 examples that you commonly used to convey meaning without use of words? Have you been misunderstood? And these are definitely common ways of using nonverbal communication to convey meaning. There are 2 examples of each that I commonly use. For substitution, I definitely use head nodding. Instead of verbally agreeing with somebody, I often nod my head as a substitution to indicate my agreement for understanding. Yeah, like on page 173. I also give thumbs up as an informal setting, or in an informal setting, or sometimes when I'm in a Zoom call or something. But I've definitely had it be misunderstood or accidentally done it and had people misunderstand me. An accentuation would be like a hand gesture. I commonly use hand gestures all the time. But I'm going to move on to the last question. The use of emojis are a type of non-verbal communication. Do you commonly use any misinterpretations that... Are there any misinterpretations that you cleared up with words or questioned if your message was received as you intended? And yeah, I use emojis a lot. I use the laughing emoji a lot. And I've definitely had people think I was trying to be mean or think I was laughing, or I've accidentally sent like the laughing emoji instead of something else, so people were wondering why I was laughing or something. And I've definitely sent a message with an emoji and wondered if people could understand what I was trying to say. It can be a tricky situation, texting people. Definitely.